Welcome!
One morning, you finally see a truth that has been following you for a long time. You always leave English for later, after work, after school, after everything else, when your energy is low and your mind is tired. At night, you open your book or your phone, but your focus is already weak, and even simple words feel heavier than they should. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be better, but the same thing happens again and again. That is the morning when you stop waiting and begin to understand that the problem is not only English, but also the moment you keep giving to it. When you think carefully about your day, you realize that your best hours come before the noise, before the rush, and before the distractions begin. In the early morning, your mind is cleaner, your thoughts are slower, and your attention is stronger. If you truly want to change, you cannot continue giving English the tired part of your day. You need to offer it your first energy, not your last remains. That idea feels simple, but it is powerful, because it changes the way you look at time. English is no longer something you fit into your day if there is space. It becomes something you protect. So you make a decision that feels difficult but also necessary. You decide to wake up earlier and use the first part of your morning to study, listen, repeat, and speak. You do not choose this because it sounds easy or comfortable. You choose it because you know that real change needs a real place in your life. You set the alarm, prepare your notebook, and tell yourself that tomorrow morning will not belong to delay anymore. It will belong to your English, even if the first step feels small and uncertain. When the alarm rings the next morning, the bed feels warm, and the room feels too quiet for action. A part of you wants to stay there, close your eyes again, and promise to start another day. But another part of you remembers why you made this choice in the first place. You stand up, wash your face, and sit down with sleepy eyes and a tired body, but also with a clear intention. In that moment, it still feels difficult, maybe even strange, but it also feels important in a way that touches something deeper. You are no longer waiting for the perfect time, you are creating it. That first morning does not make you fluent, and it does not remove every doubt from your mind. But it gives you something stronger than a temporary burst of motivation. It gives you a beginning with direction. You start to see that waking up early is not only about time, it is about respect for your own goal. You are telling yourself that English matters enough to meet you before the world becomes loud. That decision becomes the first real step of the story, because change often begins not with confidence, but with a choice made before confidence arrives. And on that morning, something in you finally begins to move. In the first early days, waking up feels harder than you expected, even though you already know why you chose this path. The alarm rings, and your body wants to stay in bed because the room still feels too warm and your eyes still feel too heavy. Sleep, laziness, and doubt all arrive together, and they speak to you before any English words do. They tell you that one more hour of sleep is better than one more page of study. But even with that feeling, you get up, because you know these first mornings are the beginning of something important. At the table, your practice starts in a very simple way, because simple things are all you can carry in that sleepy hour. You repeat short phrases, listen to easy audio, and read small lines out loud while your mind slowly wakes up. Sentences like "I wake up early," "I drink water," and "I study English" become your first companions in the day. At the beginning, they sound plain and mechanical, and your voice still feels slow. But you keep going because you are not looking for perfection in these first mornings. You are building a habit one small repetition at a time. Still, one of those mornings becomes the light climax of this stage, because you almost decide to stop the whole plan. You sit there with your notebook open, and the words look simple but far away, as if your tired mind cannot hold them. You repeat the same line and feel that it is not working, and your body says you are too tired for this. For a few seconds, you truly think that maybe early study is too much for you. The bed feels like a better teacher than English. But before you give up, you decide to stay just a few more minutes and try again with a calmer breath. Then something small but important begins to happen, and it changes the feeling of the morning. You notice that even though your body is sleepy, your mind is actually cleaner than it usually is later in the day. There is less noise inside you, fewer distractions, and more space to hear the English sounds. When you repeat a short sentence again, your pronunciation comes out a little clearer than it did at night. You hear your own voice more easily, and the words do not fight so much inside your mouth. That moment surprises you, because it shows you that the early hour has a kind of quiet strength your evening never had. By the end of those first days, you still feel the difficulty of waking up, but now you also understand the gift hidden inside it. Morning practice is not comfortable yet, and doubt has not completely disappeared, but you can already feel that the habit is helping you. Your pronunciation sounds a little better, your listening feels a little sharper, and your focus is stronger than it used to be after a long day. That is enough to keep you going. You begin to understand that these early mornings are not only taking something from you, like sleep. They are also giving something back, a clearer mind, a steadier voice, and a better beginning for your English. After some weeks, English no longer feels like a strange guest in your mornings. It starts to enter the first part of your day in a natural and steady way, almost like the light that comes through the window. When the alarm rings, you still feel sleepy sometimes, but now you also feel ready for the routine you have built. You sit down, open your notebook, and begin with useful phrases that have already become familiar friends. The morning is no longer only the time when you wake up, it is also the time when your English wakes up with you. You repeat short sentences that fit your real life, and that makes the practice feel useful instead of empty. You say things like, I wake up early, I drink water, I read in English, and I am ready to study. Then you read a short text out loud, slowly and clearly, while listening to your own voice more carefully than before. You also play easy audio and follow the words with better attention, because now your mind is more trained to stay with the language. What once felt difficult and forced now feels more organized. English is starting to become part of your morning rhythm. Little by little, your pronunciation begins to improve because you practice every day with calm and focus. You are not shouting, rushing, or trying to impress anyone. Instead, you are giving the same sounds and structures time to grow stronger through repetition. The words feel less heavy in your mouth, and the pauses between them become shorter and more natural. You notice that you are hearing the difference between sounds more clearly than before. Because of that, your mouth learns faster too, and your voice begins to sound more confident in simple English. This becomes the first real climax of the morning habit, because one day you suddenly notice that the practice no longer feels like punishment. Before, waking up early felt like losing comfort, sleep, and ease. But now you understand that those early hours are building something in you that did not exist before. They are creating discipline, stronger pronunciation, better listening, and a daily connection with English. That realization changes the meaning of the whole routine. You stop seeing the alarm as an enemy and start seeing it as the beginning of construction. From that point on, your mornings feel different, even when they are still simple and quiet. You know you are not fluent yet, and you know there is still a long road ahead, but now the habit belongs to you. English is no longer waiting for some perfect future time to enter your life. It is already there, in your first words, your first thoughts, and your first effort of the day. Waking up early has become more than a discipline exercise. It has become proof that growth often begins in small repeated moments, and that every calm morning is helping build a stronger version of your voice. Then a hard period comes, and it feels different from the first sleepy mornings, because now the difficulty is deeper. You are no longer fighting only the bed or the alarm clock, you are fighting the return of old habits that want your mornings back. Your body feels more tired than usual, your motivation becomes smaller, and the idea of sleeping a little longer starts to sound very reasonable. You tell yourself that missing one morning will not matter, and then another voice says that maybe the whole plan can wait. This is the kind of moment that does not look dramatic from the outside, but inside it feels like a real test. One morning, the alarm rings, and you do not feel the same energy that helped you before. Your eyes stay closed a little longer, and your mind begins to build excuses with surprising speed. It says that your body needs more rest, that one day without English will change nothing, and that you can return tomorrow when you feel better. The old habit of leaving English for later stands very close again, and for a moment it feels stronger than your plan. You lie there and feel the weight of the choice, because you know this is not only about one morning. It is about the direction your days will take after this one. For a few seconds, it seems easier to give up the early hour and return to the older version of yourself. That version stayed in bed, waited for perfect motivation, and studied only when everything felt easy enough. But now another part of you remembers something important. Growth is not built only on good days. So you sit up, put your feet on the floor, and decide that today does not need to be perfect to count. You do not promise a long session or amazing focus. You only promise a short practice, because even a small act can protect a strong habit. That decision becomes the second big climax of your morning journey, because you rise without waiting for your feelings to help you. You wash your face, sit down, and do a short practice with simple phrases, even though your body still feels heavy. You repeat, you listen, and you read just a little, not with perfection, but with honesty. And something important happens in that small space of effort. Your excuse loses power. The practice is short, but it is real, and real effort is stronger than a beautiful plan that stays only in your head. In that moment, your discipline becomes stronger than the voice that told you to stop. When the short session ends, you are still tired, but you feel different inside, because you did not disappear from your goal. You prove to yourself that consistency does not need perfect mornings, perfect energy, or perfect focus. It only needs your decision to continue, even in a smaller way, when the day feels heavy. That is the morning when your training changes, because now it is not built only on motivation. It is built on character, and character keeps moving even when comfort calls you back. From then on, you understand that some mornings teach pronunciation, some teach listening, and some teach something even more important: how to keep your promise to yourself. In the final part of this journey, you begin to see clearly that you are not the same person who heard that first alarm with fear and doubt. Back then, the morning felt heavy, English felt far away, and every phrase seemed to ask for too much effort. Now, when the day begins, your mind is calmer and your voice is stronger than before. You understand more when you listen, and you speak with less fear when you repeat useful sentences. The change did not happen in one big moment, but now you can feel it in many small parts of yourself. You notice that your pronunciation has improved because you gave your voice the same practice again and again in those early hours. Phrases that once felt hard now move more easily through your mouth, and the sounds no longer feel so strange. You can say simple sentences with more confidence, and you trust your own voice more than you did in the beginning. That trust changes the way you study, because now you are not only trying to learn English. You are also learning how to stay present, focused, and patient with your own progress. One morning, while you read a short text and repeat a few familiar lines, you suddenly understand something important. Fluency did not begin in a perfect class, a magic lesson, or one special day when everything became easy. It began in those repeated mornings when you were sleepy, uncertain, and still willing to continue. It began when you sat down with simple phrases and gave them time to become part of your life. Those ordinary mornings, which once looked small, were actually building something strong inside you. That realization feels deep, because it shows you where real change is born. This is the final climax of the story, because now you can look back and recognize the real meaning of those early hours. Waking up early did not only improve your English, it also changed the way you live with effort, time, and discipline. You became someone who can begin before feeling ready, continue without perfection, and trust small habits enough to let them grow. English became stronger in you, but so did something else, your belief that change is possible when you repeat the right action with honesty. That belief stays with you even after the morning practice is over. So when the sun rises now, it brings more than light into your room. It brings the memory of every early effort that helped shape a new version of you. You are still learning, and there is still a long road ahead. But now you know that progress is real because you already lived it day by day. Your English is better, your voice is clearer, and your confidence is more solid than before. And in the end, you understand one beautiful truth: those simple mornings did not only teach you a language, they helped you become someone new.